In part 1, Elon Musk almost lost everything. Tesla was running out of money, SpaceX had failed 3 times, the global economy was collapsing, and Elon had to choose between saving one dream or risking both. Then, Falcon 1 reached orbit, SpaceX survived, Tesla survived. But here is the part most people miss. Surviving was not finish line, it was only the beginning. Because after 2008, Elon Musk was not just trying to keep his companies alive, he was trying to prove that the future of cars, energy, internet, and space could all be rebuilt from scratch. And that is where the real gamble became even bigger. Tesla had escaped death, but escaping death does not mean you have won. In 2010, Tesla went public. The company raised around $226 million in its IPO. For a normal company, that would be a huge success, but Tesla was not normal. It was still fighting against almost the entire auto industry. At that time, most people still saw electric cars as a joke. Too slow, too expensive, too weak, too limited. And Tesla was trying to convince the world that electric cars were not just possible, they were better. But for that, Tesla needed more than hype. It needed a car that could change public opinion. That car was the Model S. In 2012, Tesla began delivering the Model S. And this was the moment when the Tesla story changed. The Model S was not a tiny experimental car. It was not a boring eco car. It was fast. It was sleek. It had a giant touchscreen. It looked futuristic. And for the first time, many people started to think maybe electric cars are not the future. Maybe they are already here. But even then, Tesla was still not safe because building a great car is one challenge. Building that car again and again at scale is a completely different war. Tesla had to build factories, improve batteries, train workers, convince suppliers, fight delays, and survive constant doubt from investors, analysts, and competitors. Every year, the pressure grew. And then came the car that was supposed to take Tesla from niche luxury company to mass market revolution, the Model 3. This was the dream, an electric car for a much wider audience, a car that could take Tesla from thousands of customers to millions. But the Model 3 almost broke the company. Elon Musk later called this period production hell. And the phrase was accurate. Tesla had demand. People wanted the car, but Tesla struggled to produce it fast enough. Factories were under pressure, automation did not work as smooth as planned, workers were pushed hard, deadlines kept moving, and once again Tesla looked like it was trying to do something almost impossible. This is the pattern of Elon Musk's career. First, he enters an industry people think is too hard. Then he promises something huge. Then the company almost breaks under the pressure. And then if it survives, the world changes around it. By 2018, Tesla delivered more than 245,000 vehicles in a single year. That was almost as many vehicles as Tesla had delivered in all the years before combined. This was the moment when Tesla stopped looking like a small experiment and started looking like a real car company. Then the growth became massive. In 2021, Tesla delivered more than 936,000 vehicles. In 2022, more than 1.3 million. In 2023, around 1.8 million vehicles. Think about that jump. A company once fighting for survival, a company people mocked, a company many believed would fail, was now delivering more than 1 million vehicles a year. Tesla had not just survived, it had forced the entire auto industry to change direction. Suddenly, almost every major car company was talking about electrical vehicles. Legacy automakers started announcing EV plans. Governments started pushing cleaner transport. Investors started treating Tesla not only as a car company, but as a technology company. And Elon Musk's net worth exploded because of one simple reason. He owned a major stake in a company that market believed could reshape the future. But Tesla was only one side of the empire. Because while Tesla was changing roads, SpaceX was changing space. After Falcon 1 reached orbit and NASA gave SpaceX credibility, the company began moving into a much bigger phase. The next major vehicle was Falcon 9. And Falcon 9 was not just another rocket, it was the foundation of SpaceX's future. The goal was not only to launch rockets, the goal was to make rockets reusable. For decades, rockets were almost treated like extremely expensive disposable machines. You launch them once, they do the mission, then most of the rocket is gone. Imagine if airplanes worked like that. Imagine if every flight from Lahore to Dubai required destroying the entire plane after landing. Air travel would be insanely expensive. Musk believed rockets had the same problem. If rockets could be reused, The cost of space could fall dramatically, but again, people doubted him. Reusable rockets sounded like science fiction. Landing a rocket upright after launch looked almost impossible, and SpaceX failed many times while trying. Rockets came down too hard, boosters exploded, landing attempts failed, but every failure gave SpaceX more data. And then in 2015, Falcon 9 landed successfully. That landing was not just a cool video, it was a turning point in the business of space. SpaceX was proving that rocket did not have to be thrown away after every launch. And once reusable rockets became real, SpaceX started gaining a major advantage. More launches, lower costs, more experience, more confidence from customers, more government contracts. The company that almost died after three failed Falcon 1 launches had become one of the most important space companies in the world. But Elon Musk was not finished, because launching satellites for other people was only one business. What if SpaceX launched its own satellites? What if it built an internet network in space? That idea became Starlink. Starlink was another huge gamble. Thousands of satellites, huge upfront cost, global internet service, a plan so large that it sounded unrealistic. But if it worked, SpaceX would not only be a rocket company, it would become a global communications company. And that changed the scale of the story. Because rockets are big, but internet is bigger. There are billions of people on Earth. Many live in areas where fast internet is weak, expensive, or unavailable. Starlink offered a different vision: internet from space, remote villages, ships, airplanes, disaster zones, military operations, anywhere with a clear view of the sky. And because SpaceX had its own reusable rockets, it had a powerful advantage. It could launch its own satellites again and again. The rocket business and the internet business started feeding each other. Falcon 9 helped build Starlink. Starlink helped make SpaceX more valuable, and SpaceX value became one of the biggest drivers of Elon Musk's wealth. This is where the road to a trillion becomes clearer. Elon Musk did not become extremely rich because he took a salary. He became rich because he owned stakes in companies that investors believed could dominate the future. Tesla was not valued only as a car company. It was valued as an electric vehicle, battery, software, AI, and energy company. SpaceX was not valued only as a rocket company. It was a launch company, satellite, internet company, space infrastructure company, and possibly the foundation of a future beyond Earth. And then Elon made another risky move: Twitter. In 2022, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. This was not like Tesla, this was not like SpaceX. Twitter was already a famous platform, but it was also controversial, politically sensitive, and extremely difficult to manage. After buying it, Musk changed the company dramatically. He cut staff, changed policies, renamed it X, pushed subscriptions, and tried to turn it from a social media platform into something much bigger: an everything app, a payment platform, a media platform, a communication platform, maybe even an AI connected platform. But this move also brought heavy criticism. Advertisers were worried, users were divided, media coverage was intense. Many people questioned whether Musk had made a massive mistake, but whether people liked the move or hated it, one thing was clear: Elon Musk was still gambling. Even after Tesla, even after SpaceX, even after becoming one of the richest people on earth, he was still taking risks most billionaires would avoid. Then came XAI. Artificial intelligence became one of the most important business battles in the world, and Musk entered that battle too. Now the empire had another front: AI, cars, rockets, satellites, social media, brain computer interfaces, tunnels, energy. At this point, Elon Musk was no longer building one company, he was building an ecosystem of future bets. Tesla had cars, batteries, energy store, self-driving and humanoid robots. SpaceX had rockets, Starlink, spacecraft, and space infrastructure. X had media communication and user data. XAI had artificial intelligence. Neuralink had brain-computer interfaces. The Boring Company had tunnels. Some of these businesses were huge. Some were still experimental. Some were controversial. Some might never become as big as promised, but together they created something powerful: the Elon Premium. Investors were not only betting on products, they were betting on Musk's ability to enter impossible industries and somehow push them forward. And in 2026, the story reached a historic moment. SpaceX went public in a record breaking IPO. The company's valuation surged past $2 trillion after its market debut. And because Elon Musk owned such a large stake, writers reported that he became the world's first trillionaire. But here is the most important part: That did not mean Elon Musk had $1 trillion sitting in cash. Most of that wealth was tied to ownership, shares, stakes, company value. If those companies rise, his net worth rises. If they fall, his net worth falls. That is why this story is not about wealth, it's about risk. The same thing that made Elon Musk rich could also make his fortune unstable. Tesla can rise and fall with demand, competition, regulation, and investor belief. SpaceX can rise and fall with loan success, Starlink growth, government contracts, and market expectations. X and XAI can rise or struggle depending on users, advertisers, technology, and trust. So when people say Elon Musk became a trillionaire, the real question is not just how much money does he have. The real question is how did one man create companies valuable enough for the market to believe in $1 trillion future? And the answer goes back to the same pattern. Zip2 gave him his first win, PayPal gave him the capital, Tesla almost killed him, SpaceX almost collapsed, Model 3 almost broke Tesla, reusable rockets almost looked impossible, Twitter X became one of his most controversial gambles, XCI became the next frontier. Every chapter had the same structure, a huge idea, a brutal crisis, a public doubt, and then one breakthrough that changed the game. That is why Elon Musk's road to a trillion is not a straight line. It is not a smooth success story. It is a chain of dangerous bets. Some worked, some almost failed, some are still uncertain. But together they created one of the most unusual business stories in modern history. And maybe that is the real lesson. Most people try to protect success. Elon Musk kept risking it. Most billionaires diversified to become safer. Musk concentrated his life around impossible missions. Electric cars, reusable rockets, internet from space, artificial intelligence, the future of transportation, the future of communication, the future beyond Earth, and that is what made his story different. Not just money, not just companies, not just the headlines, but the scale of the gamble. Because before the $1 trillion headlines, there was a man in 2008 starting at two dying companies, Tesla on one side, SpaceX on the other, and he chose to risk both. Years later, that decision became the foundation of an empire. Tesla changed the car industry, SpaceX changed the rocket industry, Starlink changed the internet from space business, and Elon Musk's wealth became a reflection of the world's belief that these companies could shape the future. So the road to a trillion was never really about becoming rich. It was about surviving long enough for impossible ideas to become real. And whether you admire him or criticize him, one thing is hard to deny. Elon Musk did not reach the top by playing safe. He reached it by making the biggest gamble of his life again and again and again. This was chapter 2 of Elon Musk's road to a trillion. The gamble survived, the empire rose, and the question now is what happens when one man's company become powerful enough to shape the future of the earth and space.